Listeners, if you've doubted the quality of your writing, or whether you had what it takes, or whether you could make it to the finish line, I want you to know that I have been there. Doubts are a very real part of the writing process, and while most of us hope that they'll go away, myself included, they don't. The secret to building the sustainable writing life you dream of isn't about getting rid of them, it's about learning to work with them. That's why I created Ditch Your Inner Critic Now. In this free masterclass, I teach you a simple 4 step process that will instantly transform your relationship with doubt and help you connect with the inner support you've always dreamed of. You'll learn how your doubts are trying to help you, how to work with them, and how to transform that snarky inner critic that tells you to just give up into your supportive best friend. If you're ready to make this shift, ditch your inner critic now by clicking the link in the show notes. And with that, let's get to this week's episode. Welcome to Writing Resilience, the podcast for writers who want to write and live the story that sets them free. I'm your host, Lisa Cooper Ellison, a writer, transformational and trauma-informed coach, story alchemist, and fellow traveler on the winding road of healing and creativity. Each week, I'll share tools, practices, and conversations that will help you let go of what no longer serves you as you create stories that change lives, especially your own. Together, we'll explore how to trust your creative voice, support your mental health and resilience, work with your nervous system and unique design, and stay connected to your deepest calling as a writer, even when life gets messy. It's time, my friends, to write and live the story that sets you free. I'm honored to walk that journey alongside you, one story and one episode at a time. Welcome, everyone. This is the Thanksgiving episode. And so today, I know that some of you are having the happiest time of your life. You are enjoying all of the food, all of the people, all of the things. But for others of you, you're just hoping that it's not going to be a shit show, or if it is, that you know how to gracefully exit without getting any of that muck on you. And there are others of you who may be alone today, and you may be wishing for this entire day to be over. Friends, I have experienced all of these states over the years. There have been good years where the biggest problem I had was how stuffed I felt after eating a delicious meal. And then there was the year that my marriage ended on Thanksgiving, and the year that family members had a fuck you contest in front of my boyfriend. And then there was the year that I canceled Thanksgiving because my brother had died and I felt like I had nothing to be grateful for. There was also the year that I scrubbed the walls of my house that I was living in to get rid of the mold that was making me so sick I was going to have to quit my job and go on a very long illness journey. And all of that hard work, which took place largely somewhat in the house and somewhat in the yard, while all of my neighbors were having these wonderful football games and joyful times outside of our house. And afterwards, I had a thankless meal of turkey and green vegetables because that year, that was all that I could eat. So, yeah, sometimes my Thanksgivings have been amazing, and sometimes they have been incredibly dark. And when life is good and I'm having those great times, I can begin to believe that all is right with the world and all will always be right with the world because I am doing everything right. But when it gets a little darker, or let's say really dark, I can begin to wonder what I'm doing wrong or why I'm being punished. I'll have this, why me? Why me? Why me? Just running like a broken record in my head. And I'll begin to beat myself up if I'm alone because I know I've got nothing to be grateful for. And if there are people around, I'll still feel that way, but I'll try to put on a happy face to act like it's not happening or, that life isn't bothering me. But here's what I want to tell you. Whatever your experience is today, whether it is the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, or somewhere in between, you don't have to question your feelings and you do not have to do anything to cover them up. If life is great, enjoy all there is to enjoy. If you are feeling sorrow, feel sorrow and know that I stand by you and that I am holding space for you. Because let's face it, life is complicated and sometimes there are no easy answers and there is nothing to say. Here is one thing that I know with 100% certainty. Even in the darkest of times, there is always art. Art helps us create a record of what is, and sometimes that is the most magnificent thing that you can do. And I'm going to tell you about my inspiration for this and someone that I have looked to in some of the darkest of times, and that is Frida Kahlo. So, if you don't know who Frida Kahlo is, she is a painter from Mexico, and she painted most of her works back in the early part of the 1900s. Frida was severely injured in a bus accident when she was 18 years old, and those severe injuries created lifelong pain that she had to endure for the whole rest of her life. She ended up marrying another famous artist who often overshadowed her and who also often cheated on her. So she never had that romantic relationship that she was looking for. And she also had a tragic miscarriage that broke her heart. Well, she took all of that pain that she had inside her and she used it as inspiration. And she channeled all of it into these achingly beautiful works of art. And I'm going to link a few of them in the show notes so that you can see what I'm talking about. Is her art for everyone? No. But if you are struggling right now or you are experiencing challenges, seeing how someone distilled their pain into something that has endured the test of time can serve as a very powerful inspiration. So I encourage you to take a look at her work. I also want to say that if you're hurting, I hope that art, in whatever form it takes for you, is the balm that gives you a sense of purpose and a way to channel your grief, your sorrow, your rage, or whatever it is that you're feeling today. And if you are one of my listeners who is bracing for a shit show that could happen today, I want to offer you the advice that I have used for years. Know your exits. And if you need to take a break, people are unlikely to follow you into the bathroom, especially if you say that your stomach is not doing well. They will never question how long you're in there, and you can use that as a way to give yourself a little freedom if you feel like you can't leave. But also, right, we've talked about a lot of darkness, but we don't want to dismiss the light either. If you are having a great day, have an amazing day. And in fact, take a photograph of all of the things that you are grateful for, all of the wonderful things that happen, because, we're human beings. We have great days and then we have tough days. And you can look back on all of this on a tough day to remind you that things change and whatever you're going through will pass. Because it's really important for us to be with what is and to capture the story of it, no matter what it is. Because when we do that, that is how we build our resilience. And so I want to thank you so much for being here and for listening, not just to this episode, but to this podcast, which has been running for almost 2 years. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for your support and the fact that we get together and work on writing our resilience together. Because I'm going to tell you, friends, that over the past 2 years, so much has changed in my life. I have so many things that I am looking forward to that I never could have expected when I first started this podcast. I have projects that were not even conceived of. I have a work life that is completely different than what I thought it was going to be. And you know what? That's because of this podcast and because of all of you. And I will say, none of this happened in a vacuum. It also happened while my dad was sick. I faced some health issues, and other things were going on in my life that made me wonder if I would be able to get any of this done. So I just want to say thank you for showing up, because when you've shown up for this podcast and you've shown up for me, it has built my resilience. And my deepest wish and my deepest hope is that by showing up with these episodes week after week, I support you as you do the same. And as you do this, may all of the stories that you embrace and pay attention to and create art from free you from whatever does not serve you so that you can continue to always, always write on. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I couldn't do this podcast without your support. If you love this episode, here are 3 simple ways that you can keep this show thriving. 1, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. 2, leave a 5-star review so others can find the show. 3, join my engaged dynamic community by signing up for the Writing Your Resilience newsletter. As a thank you, you'll receive a free copy of Ditch Your Inner Critic, 5 tools to transform self-doubt into self-support. Until next time, remember that your story matters. As you write and connect with the truest, most authentic version, you become not just the writer, but the person you're meant to be. And that, my friends, is the real freedom writing can offer.